owned by the Australian Parliament, but we have a religion unit, and I'm part of the religion and ethics unit. And it is our job to reflect back to Australians who they are, regardless and without choice of preference for any religion. So it is our job to try to be impartial and accurate in representing communities within the Australian media and context. And that's what we try to do, very much we try to do. And I might say, Carissa Suley, for example, I know her. We've actually made a documentary program on her, and everything that she's just said is absolutely true. The Uniting Church is an example of a church which has brought together Presbyterians, Congregationalists, and Methodists into one faith. And it is an example of the you call it the ecumenical movement. The next step is, of course, INTERFAITH. But they have been driving the unity of churches rather than the division of churches. And so I've looked at your biographies of each of you, and I've only met one of them so far. But I won't repeat what's in the booklet, but I will give some context of what I think is about to happen. Don't feel obliged, speakers, to do what I asked. You present what you're prepared for. But you do know from the booklet that we're looking at four major things: breaking the cycle of poverty, health and wellness through interfaith efforts, education and equality through interfaith partnerships, and then peaceful, just and inclusive societies through interfaith dialogue, which is the sort of thing that we do in the program area I'm working in here. So we're very interested in that because it's about social cohesion. And I will also say, if you weren't at the meeting last night, in Australia, we have no preferred religion. There isn't one. There is no established faith. You might hear people say it's a Christian country. Well, that's just people saying things. Our constitution does not say that. Our constitution has no favoured religion. It is not like Britain, where there was an established church, which I'll make a comment in a moment. It is not like that at all. And we don't have bishops who become members of parliament. We don't. And in fact, our members of parliament across all faiths, including increasingly Muslim members of parliament, because through immigration from Lebanon, from lots of other places, we have an increasing Muslim population and a significant Jewish population as well, by the way. It's quite significant still in Australia. Not everybody is made Aliyah in Australia because they quite like the place. They do, although many have. So I might begin by just saying a few things in relation to each of the speakers before I ask Cindy to speak first. You know from your documentation that Cindy is the chair of Religions for Peace in the United Kingdom. And that is, she'll be able to tell you much more of that more accurately than I can, but you have a lot in your notes. But I will say that the country that she comes from does have an established religion, as I just said. There is a state religion of the Anglican Church. The monarch is the head of the church. Their bishops do become members of the Houses of Lords, not all bishops, but many of them do. This is a system which outsiders might criticise as almost a theocracy, actually. You might dare to say that much. But it is absolutely embedded in the state that that's the case. In that place, 46% of the people are Christians, and they say they're Christians. About 19% Anglicans, so only about 1/5 of the country is now Anglican. It's decreasing quite rapidly. It's changing. The nation is changing. And that means when you look at it, Catholics are 8% now, which would have been unthinkable 500 years ago in the Reformation, but that's what's happened with Irish immigration, Polish immigration, all the people through EU have moved into England. So that's changing Christian denominations. But as you know, from India and the other possessions England had, it has an increasing Sikh, Hindu and Muslim population, which is now significantly part of the networks. So the sorts of things, and I'm saying 6.5% Muslim, which is a lot of people among 67 million. It's a significant group. And you will see that within the Parliament of England, that's what's happening. So as Cindy speaks, that's the sort of background that should be coming from. And I might do them one by one rather than give you a whole list of four. And before I introduce each, I'll do that. And Cindy, I invite you to speak to us about your experience with some reference, hopefully, to those four major points of poverty, wellness and interfaith efforts, education and equality, peaceful, just and inclusive societies.